Executive Director of the SBAM Foundation. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar on getting the most from the Small Business Support Hub program. This program is being recorded for future reference, and you'll be able to have access to it as you need. You'll be getting a link after this program finishes. We'll start with our material, and if you have questions as we go through, please put them into the chat. I'm joined today by Megan Mott, who is our Director of Operations, and Sarah Miller, who is our Vice President of Marketing and Strategic Communications for SBAM, and we'll be monitoring the chat throughout our program today. Let me go ahead and share our screen and we'll get started. Okay, so we have a number of people on our program today that are new to the SBSH Grant Program and at various stages. Some don't know about it. Some have started their application but have not completed their application, and others have completed their application and have been approved and are already signing up for programs and will want to learn more about our direct grant options that are available. So I'll start with an overview of the SBSH Grant Program. It is a program funded by a one-time appropriation of the American Rescue Plan, ARPA. It's to create a series of programs and support systems to support small businesses within Michigan that were disproportionately impacted by COVID-19. And it's the program itself is being provided by through the MEDC, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, in partnership with the SBAM Foundation. And we designed this program and proposed it to the MEDC, and they approved us as one of their strategic partner hubs. And this is our program. Other programs within the SBSH Grant Program are different throughout the state. We are one of 27 recipients of this grant. We are one of 3 recipients that are focused statewide. Many of the recipients, 24 in fact, are intended to serve regions or particular counties or particular industries. Our focus is statewide, all industries, and we are focusing on existing first stage and second stage businesses at a statewide level. And to our knowledge, we're the only SBSH hub that is doing it that way. The timeline for our program is essentially 2 years. We kicked it off in June at our annual meeting on June 13th, and we will run our programming through June of 2026. And our direct grants, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes, will be offered starting in August and run through December of 2025. And the question that often comes up is, why aren't we running the direct grant program under the same time frame as our programming? Many of the things that we're doing within our grant program are controlled either by the U.S. Department of Treasury, who is ultimately in charge of this whole program, and the MEDC. And a lot of it has to do with scheduling and what has to be reported back to the state and what has to be reported back to the federal government. So we had to have shorter timelines for our direct grants. There are some minimum requirements to be eligible for participation. You need to have your business located or operating in Michigan. It does not need to be headquartered in Michigan. So you can be headquartered somewhere else and have a location here and still qualify. It has to be a for-profit entity. We're a nonprofit entity. We love nonprofits, but unfortunately, nonprofits are not eligible to be part of this program. And you have to have fewer than 500 employees. There are 2 sets of requirements. Once you meet those eligibility requirements, there are 2 sets of requirements that we've established in working with the MEDC. The first are their requirements to be in this program. A company must belong to one or more SETI cohorts, and SETI is socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. This is a classification, as a government classification, and it includes businesses that are at least 51% owned and controlled by a woman, a veteran, a disabled individual, or a minority, or any combination thereof. If 51% of the ownership of the business is owned by anyone in these groups, you automatically qualify to be a participant in our program. There's also a geographic location. So if you're one of these groups in a SETI cohort, you're automatically in. We don't care where specifically you're located, as long as you're in Michigan. But the second location is the second option is if you're not a SETI cohort individual, you can qualify by the location of your business, and it looks a little like a map, which I'll show you in just a minute. And you can it can be where your office is located or where the owner's home is located. And then the third qualification opportunity is for any business that has been disproportionately impacted by COVID-19. And I don't think anybody in Michigan who owns a business needs to be told what the COVID impact did, or the COVID-19 did to their business. I think we were all impacted by it. We'll get into more details what that means. So the map looks like this. So if you're not a SETI group, you can't qualify because you're part of a SETI cohort. We would look here to this map. And if your business appears anywhere in this shaded area, there's two shades of pink on this because there's multiple maps being laid over top of each other. If your business appears in this map, or the homeowner or the business owner's home address appears in one of these shaded areas, you automatically qualify. So this map, and if you scan this QR code with your phone, you'll be able to go out and enter in your address. It'll take you right to the website. It's kind of a thick map. It's thick with data. But if you type in your address in the search bar, it'll take you right to your address, and you'll be able to see whether it's in one of the shaded areas. If you zoom in on this map, which we can't do here practically on a webinar, but if you zoom in on the map, it actually takes it down to the street level. So there are situations where you'll see where some of these areas are the pink or the purple stops, and it could actually be down to the street level. So a person on the north side of the street might be eligible under this category, and a person on the other side of the street is not. And it's like that throughout the entire map. Pretty much at the Midland level up, however, from Midland level north, if your business is located there, you qualify. If your home address of the owner is in the area essentially north of Midland, you automatically qualify. And then the last category is disproportionately impacted by COVID-19. And this is how we determine that. We asked a series of questions in our application, and we're asking you to tell your story about how COVID impacted your business. We are not asking for financial information. We are not asking for taxes, personal financial statements, or financial statements from your company. That's none of our business, and we don't need it to determine your eligibility for this program. So once you qualify, and about 96% of our applicants right now are qualifying. Those who are not qualifying are either not a SETI cohort. We've had a couple who are not located in Michigan, so they automatically don't qualify. Or when they've told their story to us about how they were impacted by COVID, it was unclear to us what the impact really was, and they quite frankly didn't tell a compelling story about how they were impacted by COVID. So once you're qualified to be in the program under MEDC rules, we take one more look at your application, and we want to make certain that you are an established first stage or second stage business. And the way we do that is if you've been in business for at least 2 years, or the principal owners have had at least 2 years experience of owning and operating a business, or annual sales of at least 500,000, or 5 or more full-time employees. These are or categories. You don't have to have all of them. You just need to have one of them. And the second one about principal business owners having at least 2 years experience, very quickly, I will tell you, we've had a number of applicants who their business that they're applying for is actually quite new. But when we talk with the owner or on their application, they indicate that they have years of experience. In many cases, those who have started a business recently are actually starting a new business that was closed because of COVID. And that is exactly the folks that we want to be helping get started. So you don't have to be a large corporation to be in this. It is intended for small businesses. And if you're 2 years or older, you're in. If you have 2 years or more of experience as an owner, you're in. And annual sales of at least 500,000 or 5 or more full-time employees, you qualify to be in our program. If you reach the MEDC qualifications, your SETI, your MAP location, or you've been disproportionately impacted by COVID-19, and for some reason you don't pass this part of our review, we will hand you off and introduce you to one of the other small business support hubs around the state and make an introduction for you. No qualified small businesses left behind, and we want to make certain that you're getting the services that you need. So the question we often get is, what is a first or second stage business? There are actually 4 definitions within the federal government of what is a first and second stage business, and very often they're check boxes. They if you're this, then you're that. And our approach is much broader than that. We look at it from the standpoint of more of a continuum. And to give you an idea of it, if you said we have you go from ideation into startup, and we've all been in a startup phase. Some of you on this call may still be in your startup phase. And then you move into the first stage, and that first stage is where you start to see stability, and you start to look for things like, I want to have sustainability, or I have sustainability, and I'm looking to scale my operation. I'm looking for market expansion. As a quick example, so you'll see here stability, sustainability, scale, and market expansion, or product and service expansion. This is the area that we're really focused on. These are the folks who are making it into our program. And as I said, 96% of our applicants thus far are making it into our program. I'll give you a good example of a company that would be established. So they're a startup company. They're not a startup company. They're established, but they are really not in this green shaded area. I have a company that services one of my properties. I'm a small business owner myself, and he does the landscaping and he does the snow plowing. And over the years, we've talked about how he could grow his business. And his response to me is, no, I've been doing this for 35 years. I like the size of the business I am. Well, that would put him in the first stage business, and there's nothing wrong with that. God bless. But the programs that we're offering are really intended for people who have achieved stability, who are looking for sustainability, who are looking to scale, who are looking to expand either their market or their products. That's the group we are looking to serve through our grant program. We believe, and I think history shows this, that this group, this shaded group, are the group of businesses that are most often overlooked. There is a great deal of help available, and appropriately so, for people who want to start businesses, and there's a great deal of help for very large corporations. But the beefy middle, the middle where most of us live, the beefy middle where most wealth is created in our state and most employment occurs within our state, is often overlooked or neglected. There's no magic test for this. There's no checklist that we're working on. It's really an art and science, but again, 96% of our applicants are meeting this requirement. And again, if you can't qualify you qualify for the MEDC, but you don't qualify for our program, we will hand you off to someone else. As you're looking at the application, which is available on our website, it's easy to get to at sbam.org. Click on the foundation. You'll also see some links at the top of the page. You can click on and take you right to the application. We use a program called Submittable. It's a platform for taking applications, and you'll create a username and password for Submittable. And then you'll be able to log in and complete the application. It takes about 20 minutes. It's really designed for owners and or lead managers to fill out. There are no secret sauce questions. We're not asking how you run your business. We are asking about the impacts of your business and where your business is right now. But we ask you that you tell your story. Tell us about your business, describe the impact COVID has had on your business, and identify your current business challenges. The more you share with us in your application, the greater our ability to provide you with assistance. We are constantly going back to the applications to learn more about what you're looking for. Now, that's a great segue, quite frankly, into our next section, which is our offerings. So once you're in our program, you will receive a notification that says you've been accepted, and we'll give you login credentials and a link to the site so you can log in and register. You can see all the programs that we are offering on our website, again at sbam.org. Click on this foundation and then click on programs, and you'll see all of what we have. And we've set up a catalog of our program. When we started out in the development of this program back in January, we went out to our some of our most engaged members, all of whom were established first and second stage businesses, and we asked them questions about stability and sustainability and the challenges that they were facing. And they came back to us with about 250 responses of what they needed and what challenges they were facing. And we categorized those into 13 categories, and then went out into the world to find the most in-depth expertise to answer questions and to resolve problems. And so we've partnered with some amazing people. The SBAM Foundation is a child of the SBAM, the Small Business Association of Michigan, is our parent company. So they'll be handling many of our programming, as will Traverse Connect, our friends at American Society of Employers. Walsh College is a partner with us. They themselves are coming up with an entire portfolio of programs. You'll see on our website some amazing courses and business support services that are out there and available to you. Great Lakes Women's Business Council, the Manufacturing Growth Alliance, our friends at 834 and Kushner and Company are just a few of the folks that we are working with to develop our programs. And we probably have 15 or 20 groups that we're working with between now and the end of our program to get to bring additional programs to this organization. So our current catalog is on our website under the Programs tab, and it's really set up like a college catalog where it gives a description of each course and essentially says who should take this course and gives you the opportunity to register. Right now we have nearly 60 course offerings, many with multiple time and date options available. Programming that we have right now is there are events going through May of 2025 so far, and we have more coming. So the process continues to evolve, and we're adding on a regular basis new programs as new subject matter experts and new partners come online. So please check back regularly. If you don't see something today, I'm 100% convinced you'll find something here in the near future. This is also a 2-year program. As I mentioned at the start, we're going to be operating this through June of 2026. So you don't have to rush, although we encourage you to get out and apply and get into these programs as quickly as possible. It's not necessary that you take them all by September. We're in this for the long haul, and we intend that many of these programs will exist well beyond the term of this particular grant program. Everything you need to know is in the grant list or the program listing on our website. So this is what our program listing, this is a close-up of what our website looks like. And you've got the program name, the category, and it kind of gives you a category of what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about networking, we're talking about mentorship, human resources, the list goes on and on and on. And then who's presenting? And then you can click on the learn more. And if you clicked on this learn more, you'd see, again, this is a close-up of it, but you'll see advanced strategic HR for the small business owner. And it gives you a description of everything you need to know about this program, when it's being offered, who's offering it, what do we know about the speaker. All of our speakers, all of our subject matter experts have been vetted. These are folks who actually are in these fields. They've done the work. Many of them are published authors on the subject that they're talking about. These are folks that know of what they speak. And then at the bottom of the listing, you'll see something that looks like this. This course would be beneficial to small owners who have a good understanding of basic HR policies, including compliance issues. That gives you a sense of who should take this course. There are some out there that are straightforward and simple. There are others that are out there that are much more complex. Then the last thing you'll see on every listing is a point, or most every listing is a point value. Our point values are based on a scale of 1 to 5. This one particularly happens to be a 4. The idea is having a point value does two things. It gives you as the participant the ability to get a sense of the subject matter intensity, how intense the subject matter will be, and or how much time we will require of you. Courses that are, let's say a 1 might be a simple topic, and it might be a simple 1-hour webinar. Something that's a 5 might be a more complex topic, or it could be something that requires multiple dates or even weeks of participation to get the full point value. All of our offerings are being offered by subject matter experts. The part that I can't stress enough is that everything we're offering under this program is being offered for free. So business support services, things that might say you can click on it when it's available, you can click on it and register for legal services, and they may pay for the first 3 hours of legal services. Or our friends at Walsh College have got some great business support services that are based on hours of consulting, and they'll pay up to, let's say, 7 hours of business consulting. I'm using these as examples, but they've got some great programs. Now, some of the consulting programs do not actually have point values because we don't know how involved you're going to be. So those don't have point values because those are really custom exposures, custom engagements that you would have. But all of our other programs do have point offerings. And many of our offerings have been specifically designed for our grant program. These are not off the shelf. All of our programs and all of our subject matter experts have agreed, when they agree to be a subject matter expert for us, agree not to sell you anything. These are not folks who are trying to sell you timeshares. They're not trying to sell you copies of their book. They're not trying to sell you subscriptions to their service. They're simply trying to give you information to help you grow your business and recover from the effects of COVID-19 on your business. So here's some programs to consider, and these are filling up, and because of the timeliness of this, I wanted to just share with a couple of these that we have. Connect, communicate, convince: business skills to increase profitability and drive effectiveness. This is a full day event. It's in person. It's happening in Lansing from 8 a.m. to 5 on August 7th. Walsh Leadership Academy, the WLA, Authority to Lead. It's an in-person half day in Troy on August 8th from 3 to 6. These are just samples of what's out there right now. Sales at a Crossroads: navigating your path to margin and customer growth. It's a virtual presentation. It's 1 hour on August 19th from 10 to 11. Sales at a Crossroads: navigating your path to margin and customer growth. And don't know why that's on there. Oh, that's an in-person one it's 3 hours from August 23rd through from 9 to 12. And then Experiencing the Power of Connection. Derek Dickow, if you've ever had the opportunity to hear Derek present, it's an amazing program. It's in person, it's full day at the Cambria Hotel in Detroit on August 28th from 8 to 5. It's an amazing program, and it's something that we encourage everyone, quite frankly, to attend. We also are excited to announce the Women's Entrepreneurial Fellowship. This is not on our website yet. It is coming. It is a unique 9-month cohort-based program designed by women for women business owners, intended to foster growth, leadership, and stability of their business. And it will be open to 15 to 20 women in our first cohort. It will be based on an invitation only on qualifications from your grant application. So if you are in the program, and if you are a woman-owned business, 51% owned and controlled, and your business has been in business for at least 3 years, or have annual sales of $500,000, or at least 5 FTE, you will automatically receive an invitation to apply. There will be a second application, a smaller application, to get information about you to be brought into this program. Very exciting stuff. And we'll be launching that. The invitations will go out in mid-August, applications will be completed, need to be completed by mid-September for the first cohort. And then our first cohort meeting will be held in October. But it is a unique program. It is something that is being custom built for the SBAM Foundation under this grant program. We're very, very excited to see what comes out of that. So our programs and courses and business services are really, quite frankly, akin to going to a really expensive restaurant. And one that you might have wanted to try for a long time, but thought, no, you can't afford to go in there. This is that free ticket. So take advantage of the opportunities. Order the Kobe beef with a lobster on the side. It's all free. All right. So I encourage everybody to take advantage of that. So the second part of our program, in addition to all the programming, which we believe represents the greatest value of our grant program, are direct grants. And the word grant gets used a lot, unfortunately, but a direct grant is literally where you would apply for direct funding, and we would then approve you, and then you would get money directly from us for those expenses. Let me give you an overview of what that looks like. We were given through our program $426,316 to be awarded. It's a very odd number, but we can give grants for as we'll get into how you can get them. We're able to use this money, specifically this amount of money, for those grants. We are limiting our grants to $4,999 per grant. If you thought $426,316 was a strange number, $4,999 is also a strange number. Why don't we just do $5,000? There's actually requirements when you issue a grant of $5,000 for a fixed asset. Let's say you wanted to buy a fixed asset, a table, a chair, a desk, a computer, and it's $5,000 or more. The federal government has an extreme amount of paperwork that has to be filled out, and you end up having to keep reporting on it for years to come. $499 and $4,999 and below, you don't have that problem. So that's where we limited that grant. You can have only one SBSH grant accepted by a business. There are 27 other hubs in the state of Michigan. It is possible that you can participate with more than one hub. It is also possible that you could apply for a direct grant from each one of those hubs that has grants to give away. Not all hubs have grants to be awarded. But you can only accept one. Some other organizations are giving grants up to $20,000 under their own program, under their own restriction. But if you accept our grant of $4,999, you can't accept anyone else's. And likewise, if you accept theirs, you cannot accept ours. You do not need to be a member of SBAM or any business trade group. Being a member, we think of SBAM as a wonderful thing. I've been a member for a quarter century, and I think it's an awesome organization, but you do not need to be a member of SBAM to be in our grant program or to apply for a direct grant. All of the restrictions that we're going to talk about are imposed by the U.S. Treasury. We didn't make this stuff up. This is how the U.S. Department of Treasury wants the grant to be administered. So how do we get the money? That actually is the most common question. Well, the second most common question. The first most common question is, where's the money? Then the next question is, how do we get it? So there is going to be a smaller, separate application. You'll find it on Submittable. And you have to make you have to be in our program to begin with. You have to be approved to be in our program. And then once you are in our program, you need to attend programs, courses, and events and amass a point value of at least 6. Remember, we have scales of 1 to 5. And so at a minimum, you're going to have to attain at least 2 courses, but you could attain 6 by attending 6 point values of 1 courses, or a 4 and a 2, or a 5 and a 1, or however you want to combine them to get at least 6 points. And then it is important to point out, as I said earlier, that the business support services, legal services, or marketing prototype services that might be offered, if it doesn't have a point value on it, it won't count towards your getting 6 points or more. You need to complete the direct grant application. It is incredibly straightforward. It's a one-page document. It essentially says, how are you going to use the funds? What is the impact to your business, and what are you looking for, and what's your time frame? That's pretty much it. We need you to tell us how the funds are going to be used, and we are really interested in the impact on your business. Once you do that, you get it approved by SBAM. You sign a direct grant agreement. The direct grant agreement, there's a copy of the direct grant agreement on the application. You'll be able to draw it up. It's just a prototype of it. We'll fill in the blanks when we actually sign it, but it gives you the terms of that grant agreement. And then you can then, once you're approved and you sign the grant agreement, you can make purchases of and provide proof of purchase back to SBAM Foundation, and then you will get reimbursed for those expenses. So it's important to see that because there are restrictions, how these grant funds can actually be used. So you could use them for marketing expenses. This is a non-exclusive list or exhaustive list. You could use them for website development. You can use them for capital expenses, but the capital expense may not exceed $4,999. And direct grant funds can't be combined with other funding sources, including your own money, for purchase. So let me give you this example. For example, you want to go out and buy a computer, and the computer costs $3,000. That would be an acceptable use of direct grant funds. You can do that, make application, we approve it, go purchase it after you sign the grant agreement, we'll reimburse you. However, let's say the computer costs $7,000. You can't use direct grant funds for that. Why is that? Again, this is a U.S. Department of Treasury requirement, and essentially they don't want to own physical things in partnership with somebody else. They want to know that the money that they went out is paid, they paid for the entire thing or nothing at all. Now, could you use it for website development? And let's say your website development is $6,000. Yes, depending on how that came to you from your vendor, break it out that this much costs $4,999, and that was one invoice. We can pay for that using direct grant funds, assuming that it's appropriate use of those funds. You can use it for costs associated with hiring software developers, AI developers, and similar services. They can be used to expenses related to the purchase of hardware and software. And funds can be used to send employees to receive specific industry certifications. Direct grant funds can use for certification, and licensing fees must result in a certification by September 30th of 2026. So there is a time limit on that. They want to know that, hey, we sent you off to welder school, or we sent you off to HVAC school, or become an EMT. Wonderful. That's a great use of that. However, you have to be done and certified by September 30th of 2026, or the recipient, I should say, has to be for that. You can't use the funds for construction costs. Well, what's a construction cost? This is, again, a federal government requirement. Anything that disturbs a surface. So a surface, a wall, a ceiling, a floor is considered a surface. And it can be as detailed as, I bought a sign. Great. The sign is great. What are you going to do with the sign? Well, we want to put it on a pole, and we have to dig up the dirt to put it on a pole. Sorry, that's disturbing surfaces. So there's real restrictions on it as it relates to construction costs, and they don't want it to be used for construction costs. It cannot be used for payroll, wages, benefits, or taxes. You can not include any expense that was occurred prior to the effective date of the direct grant agreement that we would sign together. So you went out and bought, new marketing material last month. You sign the direct grant agreement with us next month. You cannot retroactively go back and pay that fee with direct grant funds. It can't be combined with other direct grants from any other direct grant hub. It may not be split or shared between companies. You can be in our program with more than one company. We have a number of business owners who own more than one company. We encourage them to apply. You apply using the main application, hit submit, and then reapply under a new business. But you cannot share the points between each class. So if you own companies A, B, and C, you can't split your points of the courses you have to get 6 for each of the companies. Each company would have to have a representative going to each course. And it can't be issued in phases. This will be a one issue application and a one issue payment from the SBAM Foundation. And it can't be paid in advance of the project. Everything we're going to be doing is going to be on a reimbursement basis. So there will be an application effective tomorrow, August 1st. You can log into your submittable account and select direct grant application. That's the name of it, SBSH Grant Program from the SBM Foundation. And from the additional form section, you'll see it when you log in, and complete the application and click submit. The grant, because we have this chunk of money to give away, and we know we're going to run it through December 31st of 2025, with final expenses being done by September 30th of 2026. We've divided this up into tranches, and there's an open enrollment date. So our open enrollment for the first tranche starts tomorrow, August 1st, and the deadline will go through for that first tranche will go through 10/31. And as you see here, we have just over $53,000 to give away. And we'll be doing that with those applications that come in once people amass a score of at least 6. So we're doing this out of a sense of equity for all of our applicants. Some of our people are applying, but they're not going to be attending classes until January. We wanted them to have an equitable shot at getting funding for a direct grant throughout our program. So rather than just say, well, you've got to be on board by December 31st and have attended enough classes to get a point score of 6, we want you to be able to apply between August 1st of this year and December 31st of 2025. This is a competitive program. Unfortunately, we do not have enough resources to give everyone a grant who might deserve one. We don't have enough resources to give grants to everyone who might apply. We anticipate that we'll be giving out about 85 grants over the course of this program. So it's important that your proposal, your application, be a compelling argument. It should promote growth and or assist in the achievement of your company getting back to stability and recovery from the pandemic, and or maintaining stability of your business. These are the things that we're looking for in our application. And then requests that demonstrate these 3 things are the ones that are going to get the most favorable review. Tell your story. All of us, particularly all of us who are in business, and every applicant or every person in our program has been through COVID because they're established businesses. Tell your story. Tell your story about how this money might work, how your company was impacted, and how this funding will help your company moving forward. The more detail you in your application, the better. And tell us about the impact. We're looking for impact. This will do this for our organization. And then attend as many programs, courses, and events as possible. If you have attended and you've amassed additional points beyond the minimum requirement of 6, that's a good thing for you, because if we have 2 applications for a direct grant and they're equally compelling and they're equally impressive, consideration will be given to the organization that has attended more courses or attended more programs. The higher your point level, the better off you will be. So that is it. That's the end of my diatribe. Our contact information is here. Megan and I respond to all emails very, very quickly. We recognize that there are a lot of questions. We're here to help. We want you to get the most out of this. Whatever we don't spend on putting together programs and events and courses under this grant, quite frankly, has to be given back. We don't want to give back the money. We want to put it to use for established small businesses here in Michigan, and we're well on the road to doing that right now. So that's our information. The website at the bottom will take you directly to our foundation website, but you can also reach it just by going to sbam.org and clicking on the banner page at the top of the homepage. So I'll stop sharing, and I see we have some questions. And they keep coming in. So Megan, were there any that jumped out at you that you wanted to handle? We can just, quite frankly, go through some of these, or Sarah, perhaps you saw something.
Maybe you want to just explain a little bit more about the reimbursement process for the
Sure,
direct grants.
sure,
We have some questions coming in about that and how it will be in a reimbursement. And I think that should cover one
sure.
of the questions we have here.
Sure. So the reimbursement program works like this. Again, you'll apply, you'll say, here are the things that we're going to do with this grant, these grant funds. And let's just move forward and say, yep, we approved you for that. We'll sign a grant agreement. The grant agreement you can get directly from the grant application, so you can see what it looks like ahead of time. And then you'll be approved to go out and make those purchases. And then once those purchases are made, you send us the invoice and we will cut a check back to you for the amount of your grant. So it's a very straightforward process. We're going to issue one check to you up to the amount that you've been approved for.
Another question we have is, can it be used for a new HVAC or pay for an attorney retainer?
It could be used for attorney services, provided we're not offering those types of services through our program. It could provide, you could do it for HVAC, but again, you're limited to capital equipment of up to $4,999, and it can't disturb a surface. So if you have to tear out something and put something else in, and it requires rebolting things, that might be limited. We could look into that, but and if we needed to, we could get the MEDC to give us a ruling on that. But my guess is right now that they would say that that's considered construction.
Another question we have is, if all grant dollars are not allocated in the first tranche, does the leftover money get added to the second tranche?
Yes, great question. That is exactly what happens. We will roll over those funds. 100% of the funds, including the last $16 of that goofy number, will be given away. So to an appropriate applicant. So we will be going out and rolling those over. Anything that doesn't get used in tranche one will be available in subsequent tranches.
Another question we have is, once they receive a direct grant, can they continue to take the free classes?
Yes, great question. Wonderful question. Yes, we encourage you to do that. When the grant program first came out, there was they asked us to go out and develop our programming. We did that. We're continuing to do that. And then they also said, and we have these direct grants. We believe that the programming that we're putting together, that we have curated for the benefit of small businesses in Michigan, is actually the greatest value that this program has to offer, because these will be programs that, quite frankly, many of our small business participants couldn't afford to attend themselves. And we think that this is really the jewel of this program. So even after you get a grant awarded to you, not only are you allowed, we encourage you to continue using our programming in our events.
Um, we have a question. If you are not approved for the first tranche of the direct grant, can you continue to attend courses and resubmit under a different tranche?
Yes, so great question as well. So if you apply under the first, any tranche, doesn't matter when you apply, if your application is if you're not awarded a grant, we will continue to hold your application and use it in every subsequent tranche availability. So you need only apply once, but you do need to keep your application eligible. You need to keep attending courses so that the application, when your application for the direct grant is accepted, is no more than 6 months from your last course. So there is a direct requirement from the MEDC that says a direct grant has to be made within 6 months of a course. So if you apply, let's say you apply in August, and 7 months from now, and you didn't get the grant in that tranche, but we kept your application, you'll be eligible simply to keep that grant application alive simply by attending courses, so that the distance between your last course and the date of review of your application is no more than 6 months. So your application will be evergreen, provided you keep going to courses. And they don't have to be once a week; they could be once every 6 months, as long as that space is maintained. One of the questions that was asked, and I think it was answered, but it's worth repeating. Can you do classes and not apply for the grant? Absolutely. The grant is topping, frosting on the cake. We think the cake is what the programming is, and that's the real value behind this program.
We have a question. Do you need to apply once or each time frame for the direct grant?
You apply once and tell us what your program is and how you'd like to use the funds and how it'll impact your business, and we will keep that application, whether you receive a grant or not, in the first tranche or any subsequent tranche. We'll keep it as long as you keep retaining courses within 6 months of the grant being awarded. You only need to apply one time. A question was asked about, will the Women's Entrepreneurial Fellowship cohort be in person or online? It will include both programming that will be in person and online. One of the benefits we feel to the Women's Entrepreneurial Fellowship is that it will give you the opportunity to meet some other amazing women business owners and make a genuine connection with them. And we believe that's a great way to learn. And so there will be opportunities to network as in person as well as online. If we hire a consultant to help us attain ISO 9001 certification, if it's under $4,999, is that something that could be covered by the grant? Yes, it could be. That would be a service that we're not offering through our grant program elsewhere, and that certainly would work. If you're looking for certifications, there is a certification deadline, though, of the end of September of 2026.
Someone has asked if the WEF will be offered more than once.
Yes, so great question. And we'll have more information as we move through this, but the WEF will be offered more than once. I don't have a cadence yet on that. We do know that we have identified that the Women's Entrepreneurial Fellowship is a program that will survive the Small Business Support Hub grant program. So as the money is used for this SBSH grant program goes away, the WEF will continue beyond September of 2026. There was a question asked about why are we doing direct grants by reimbursement? Quite frankly, it is an ease of use issue for the number of grant applications that we'll be approving. If we do it where we submit the grant application, and then we simply give you the money and then had to come out and validate that you actually spent the money, there's costs associated with that for us, and there's costs associated with that for the recipient, because you have to have audit certifications done, and it's just a much more expensive way to do it. A question was asked about partner offerings. We are, in fact, accepting partner offerings. We have quite a few in the queue right now, but if you send a proposal, there is no official format for that proposal of what you'd like to do, to info@sbamfoundation.org. we'll certainly take a look at it. And we're working through new requests right now. And as soon as we get to it, we will definitely be in touch. The question was asked, can you submit multiple receipts totaling $4,999? Yes, you can. You could have multiple vendors, for example, that are contributing to a program that combine for $4,999, but we are only going to issue one payment of up to $4,999. So we're not paying $50 here and $10 there. You'll get the maximum amount as a single payment. So you'd collect all of your receipts and submit them at the end for a single reimbursement.
We had somebody ask how class attendance will be confirmed for credit.
Great question. So all of our subject matter experts are responsible for taking and reporting back to our foundation who attended the course. So registering for the course, it's a lot like college. Registering for the course is great, but what we need is attendance, and you need to attend the program before we can give you credit for the point values associated with the program. So a question was asked, if there are no point values in the details for the class, does that mean there are no points for that class? Megan, keep me honest. Is that a fair statement? If there's no point values listed, we have not assigned a point value for that course.
We do have business resources available. Those are things like the lawyer in residence and the prototype lab, and those are not assigned a point value. Those are something that is available to your business, but you do not receive any points for taking advantage of those business resources.
Okay. Now, the example that was given, we can look into. It was the anatomy of a brand workshop for cohort 2.
It's been corrected. There are
It's been
4
correct.
points
Okay.
for that one.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good.
Yep.
Very
All
good.
corrected now.
Awesome. Thank you. Because that's a unique one in that, but it typifies the type of programming that we have. That's a very small course. I think it's limited to 3 people, but it's very much hands-on. And the author of that program, Cam Ganas, is actually taking people through the program. So it's very, very much a hands-on course. Other courses are less interactive. They simply might be a webinar or something less intense. I think that hits them all. Are there any others that jumped out at you?
I think that covers most of the questions I was seeing.
Okay. A question was asked, how can we check on the amount of points that we currently have? We actually don't have that program in place to do that. I can tell you that because they're all listed on the page, you can obviously add yourself, but and if you apply for a direct grant, we'll be comparing that against your attendance list. So we'll be able to keep track of that on our end to make certain that you are in fact compliant. But we don't have an easy way for you to see it as you go through. Question was asked, does the grant cover certifications like women, minority-owned business certifications? We actually will have a whole series of programs on that are still coming. The Great Lakes Women's Business Council and some other groups that we're going to be working with are going to be helping us with certifications. We'll have some more information on certifications going forward as some new classes are offered that will cover, if not the entire certification, a large portion of the certification. I don't have much more information on it than that because we're still developing that. But that is our intent, is that would be, you wouldn't need to use the grant, your direct grant for that, because we are looking to provide that as part of our grant programming. Sarah, this is a question I'm going to ask you to respond to. The question is Ask the Expert program open to us? I'm assuming us being a participant. There are two,
Right.
there are, just very quickly before you answer, there are because you can be an SBAM member and be a member, a participant in our grant, but you don't have to be an SBAM member. I don't, do you have a sense of that?
David, that's a great question, and I don't know the answer off the top of my head. I would have to review a few things with a colleague of mine before I answer that. So
I agree. I know that's a member benefit,
yes,
but
it is a
I don't believe.
member benefit specifically for our premium VIP and elite members. I cannot recall the exact terms of what we're offering grant participants, but we can find that out and reply later.
There is a newsletter that's been created specifically for participants in this program, and it's sent to the email that we have for you in our records, and it gives updates on courses and things that have been added. Take a look at that. That is going to be our main communication with participants going forward as we get new things. It's have we rested on a cadence on that, Megan or Sarah?
Not a specific cadence yet. We've had 2 volumes go out. I anticipate we would like to do it a couple of times a month, at least to start, as we're adding more programs and courses and getting people up to speed. And then we're going to be keeping those archived on the site as well. So, you know, the latest volume just went out Monday of this week, and so I'd anticipate another one out in mid-August.
There's a comment made about it says when you log into your ASE account, it will show you the points you have. I just finished a course last week. Congratulations. That may not show you all the points that you have because not all of our programs are offered through ASE. All right, I think we've handled them all. If there's nothing else, we've been more than happy to take questions at info@sbam foundation.org, info@sbamfoundation.org, and keep them coming. This program is literally built for you. Please take full advantage of it. And if there's something else that you're looking for that isn't being offered, send us an email. If there's an opportunity for us to find a way to do it, we will make every effort to do it as we look to expand our programming going forward. But it's a very exciting program. It is unique. It is the only one of its kind being offered for established small businesses in the state of Michigan. And we hope everyone who owns a small business in Michigan will take full advantage of what we have to offer. So thank you all for your time today. And I look forward to working with you as we move forward. Have a wonderful day.